We are live.
We are.
What a game, huh? I don't like
Yeah,
the way
you
we
know.
I don't like the way we have the. I don't like the way
Vertical.
we have like this split up like this. Yeah.
We need
This
the
is
Hey,
boxes,
do
David.
something about that, man.
We
This
need
is
the
weird,
boxes.
man. I don't like
this
this.
is really throwing me off. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm out of here. I'm out of
There
here.
we go. There we
Hey,
Hey.
go.
yo.
That's there.
Nope,
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Oh
no,
no.
not that one.
Oh no.
Stop, Manny. Stop, Manny.
Yep. There we go.
Oh
Oh
no.
man. Well, the Kings lost,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Lost Cheezit Bowl, lost to Oklahoma State 37-34. Um, the biggest news I think coming out of this whole thing is the injury to De'Aaron King and what's going to happen and how serious it is. Um, I hate to throw this card out there, but I may have an inside source to find out on what's going on with De'Aaron King, but I probably won't know until tomorrow. So I'm just going to leave it like that. I don't want to say too much about it, but shout out to this person, my source. Anyways,
To the plug.
to the plug. Shout out to my plug. Listen, valiant effort by N'Kosi Perry. I think he played well. As I previously stated on Twitter, I think that's a prelude to what we're going to see as far as the type of offense we're going to see. Maybe scaled up a little bit with maybe a Jake Garcia or a TVD because they don't pose the threat that De'Aaron King poses with his legs. So that's probably what you're going to see. Very, very Shane Buechele type. However, before we get to the positives, we gotta talk about this this defense. Although hey, listen, they played a lot better in the second half. Had some short fields on that one fumble. But still, man, the defense still struggled. You saw that they were completely lost in the first half. Gave up 3 touchdowns, back to back right away in the first quarter. Looks like they couldn't cover. They couldn't cover anybody. They looked soft. They were getting run over. Absolutely, man. They were getting burnt. Although that was a really nice piece of toast, so it didn't look too burnt to me. But anyways, they were getting toasted. Okay, and I think it was quite embarrassing to see the defense. I know we were missing Jalen Phillips and Quincy Roche, but still, man, I think that's what the secondary did. And how they played, specifically guys on the outside like DJ Ivy. Corey Couch didn't have his best game. However, that first PI call was a little sketchy to me. I think that that was kind of a tough call there. And then the interception as well that got taken off the board. So, but I want to throw it to you guys because I want to hear your take on the defense, but also just the whole game. The game as a whole. And how you think the Kings performed, and what's next for the Miami Hurricanes? Go ahead, Paul. We'll start off with you.
Honestly, I think when we all watched the first quarter, we were all kind of like, "Damn, not again with this crap." I mean,
Yeah.
first quarter was just horrible. I mean, you saw because I was keeping an eye on the defense. I think the defense played like crap in the first quarter, and it was just a lot of the play calls because they played a lot of zone coverage in that you guys saw, and not on top of that, all the corners and safeties were kind of they were giving like 5-10 yards of space, pre-snap, so that already wasn't a good look, and it was I don't know that the play calling was so weird and it was so conservative. We've called this kind of play calling Mark D'Onofrio esque by Baker. And I think it was good that once the second quarter kind of came around, they were a little more aggressive. The because even the first quarter they weren't getting any push on the pass rush at all. Like it was like I remember just like you'd see them like pre-snap, guys were kind of like frozen, like they seemed like stiff, so they weren't kind of like in that attack mode. They were kind of just just there. But then you kind of see, I think even towards the third quarter, guys are kind of more twitchy. They were kind of more tenacious. I feel like they kind of disguised their blitzes a lot better. So they were getting a lot better push. I know you'd see like Corey Flagg get in there a lot more often with that. But the first quarter was definitely throwaway. And if you think about it, if you don't even include the first quarter in this, Miami would have won. They would have won by 18 points. And it was really weird. And I think Jazz, like you brought up too, with how you think that this is how basically you saw how the offense would look if Jake Garcia or TVD was the quarterback, and I wholeheartedly agree with you too about on that, because one thing that I kind of took away from this just watching Posey during his time was that he is a much more polished passer than King is. And I think that that's really one thing to watch because look, okay, the final numbers for Carrier 19 for 34, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's with 5 drops combined from Pope and
I haven't
Wiggins.
even gotten there. I don't even want. You don't understand. I don't even want.
So let's change it to 24 for 34.
Exactly.
So that's 12. I can't do that's over 70%, I think. If my math is
24 for 34. No, it's about 65%, I think, right?
over
Somewhere around
34, 70 and a half there. I typed it for
there.
you.
Okay,
70 and a
70%.
half.
Nice.
And I think if you include, because I know there were a couple big ones from Wiggins. I think there's one big one from Wiggins that would have been a big game. And then you saw the one at the end by Pope, which, man, like he would like Perry was putting the ball on the numbers. Like he was putting the ball in a spot where only the receivers can catch it. Pope and Wiggins just got to do the rest. They got to take care. They got to take care of the rest.
Yeah.
And man, like even think about Miami only needed a field goal at the end. If Pope had made that, like Pope, we didn't need Pope to put it in the end zone.
No, but that puts us in field goal position easily.
Just it is we're perfectly in his hands, just perfectly dropped, and all he had to do was just take it in. Even just use his body. Fine, just cheat and use your body to help you catch it. But even with that, it couldn't do it. So I think Perry would have finished with well over 300 yards. And it's given me some thought because now I'm thinking like, man, like I if I was Kosi, I definitely would think about grad transferring, just because maybe if the Canes are so set on King to be quarterback next year, then I mean, what are you going to stay there for senior year?
Right.
But I really feel like Perry could give King a run for his money just because you've seen the sample size, and man, like Perry has good touch on his throws, and I feel like also with this offense, Lashley does a better job with quarterbacks that are not necessarily running quarterbacks. Like you've seen it with Bouchel, and with Perry. Like Perry's not a run first quarterback, or running's not even like his biggest strength. But him and Bouchel are guys that kind of like they can run if they need to. Like if they're in a position to extend plays, they can if you need to. But they're not going to think. They're going to think throwing first, which is good. And on top of that, one thing I noticed too. I mean, I'm already getting observations is that. I feel like Perry did a good job of also involving Wiggins and Pope as well in the passing game. I mean, granted, they did drop their passes, but I felt like with King, when King's in the game, he doesn't go to Pope and Wiggins at all. And I wonder, like, is it because
maybe it's maybe there's a reason because they suck.
Yeah, that too. But like,
they can't catch a pass. I mean, you lose. The truth is that you lose confidence in those guys, so you're gonna go away from them.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it was good that Perry was at least, throwing the ball to them just to kind of get them involved. But I mean, I think let's see, they did get Pope on an end around that on that one play for 12 yards. I mean, still Pope and Wiggins still have to make the most of it because I mean they got to help the team out. But I don't know. I just like the way Perry really commanded the offense. The play calling was
he looked comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And
he looked good.
Yeah, so. Overall, I think it was a very, very valiant effort by Miami, just to not kind of crap themselves and just say like, oh shoot, we're down 21-0, this game's over, we have nothing to play for. Like, no, they kept fighting. And especially with seeing Garrett King go down, I feel like they kind of just saw that, or like, damn, we really gotta pick it up and fight for this because we could still win this. It was a nice, like, I was thinking too, like at this point, even if Miami loses this game, they still put up a fight. They didn't crap the bed. They really just you could see that they're trying, and I commend them for that. But I still think that Baker still has to go after this.
Yeah, I don't see how he can. I don't know how he can stay on after this. Listen, at the end of the day, they still put up 37 points. On this defense. Yeah, he made some adjustments in the second half, but it still seemed like they were marching down the field every time. right? They had a missed field goal. They had, some stalls here and there, but bottom line is that they still were able to move the ball too easily, and to be quite honest with you, I'm not saying that this is not just that this is a Blake Baker problem only. I think you have to also put onus on and Danny, I'll get to you on this, on the players, okay, on the players coming out flat, coming out and missing so many tackles. DJ Ivy got run over again, and then they kept throwing that to Corey Couch because he kept making pass interference calls. So you're gonna keep going to the guy if he's struggling covering the kid. That kid Brennan Presley caught one ball the whole year,
For
and then
7 yards, right? Or something like that.
I think it was 7 or 9 yards, and now he's MVP of this team of this game. So, Danny, I mean, the defense was like, it was very disheartening to see. What do you think Miami does? And we'll get to the offense after because I definitely have a bone to pick with those wide receivers. What do you think is going to happen now with Blake Baker? Not only Blake Baker, but the defense as a whole. Is Manny Diaz on the hot seat also? Because a lot of people think that this is all on Manny Diaz as well. Because he's boys with Blake Baker, is he going to get rid of him?
Yeah, well, whenever I was watching this game and I watched the whole thing, something came to mind that we had been talking about since the season started. Can the team come out ready to play, prepared to play for 4 quarters? And in the first quarter, and even in the first half, they looked like they were sleeping. The defense looked like they were sleeping. And I was noticing the front seven in particular, and the quarterback, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment, all time to throw. And he also had time to bounce to the outside and try to make things happen on the run. So I was really kind of disappointed by the front seven of Miami, and I understand that we're missing some very good players there, but I was expecting a little more pressure to try to disrupt the rhythm of the quarterback. The secondary, you kind of mentioned Brandon Presley, 6 catches for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns, I believe it was. They had trouble covering him all game, and not only that, I noticed certain members of the secondary didn't even turn their head to look for the football. So it was a disheartening effort on defense, I thought. I thought they played better in the second half, but they had already put themselves in a 21-point hole in the first quarter. That's hard to dig out of no matter
Yeah, it is. Good point.
So.
Yeah. Well, look, listen, at the end of the day, it shouldn't even gotten to that point where you're in a 21-point hole, right? Like you said, 21-point deficit in a bowl game against a team like Oklahoma State. Listen, they're consistent. They're a good program. They're a good offense. Mike Gundy, knows what he's doing over there on that side of the football. And their defense was ranked second in the country in third down, in third down efficiency, right? They get off the field a lot. They don't allow a lot of first downs on third downs. So if you know that, you have to be able to make some of those plays. And bottom line is that the Sanders, yeah. So the bottom line is that they didn't make the plays, right? D. Wiggins dropped a few balls. Mark Pope dropped a few balls, and they were balls that were thrown really well. Okay, I know that one was a little short on De'Aaron King on the one that D. Wiggins missed, but it was actually a good throw because he threw it kind of back shoulder. He was able to go up and get the ball, and he dropped it. Nkosi laid a dime. He threw a dime to Mark Pope on that ball that he dropped. So my problem is, okay, and we'll turn it over to this side of the football now. First of all, do whatever you got to do, but keep Rhett Lashlee here as the offensive coordinator. Okay, if you've got to give him an extension, if you got to pay him some more money, do it because someone's going to get him. Second of all, I don't know if it was Rhett Lashlee. Maybe it was. Maybe it was Manny Diaz. And there comes a point because, and I hate to say this because I don't want to put Manny Diaz in the same sentence as a Nick Saban, but the bottom line is that if Nick Saban doesn't give a crap if you're Devontae Smith or if you're Jerry Jeudy or if you're Julio Jones, if you drop balls like that are thrown at you perfectly and you get an opportunity to catch those balls and you drop them consecutively over and over again, he's going to pull you. Learn your lesson. Okay, learn your lesson. I'm going to put somebody else in, another 5-star receiver. And I get it. We don't have 5-star receivers but we still have good players like Michael Redding, You know, and Keyshawn Smith, who played a lot this game, I did see him on the field a lot. But you got to put those guys in and say, listen, you're gonna sit down and you're gonna watch these guys, and if these guys drop the ball, then next man up. But you gotta teach them a lesson because they continuously go out there, you know, and they got a little better as the season went on, but then they kind of reverted back to their old ways, and that just shows lack of discipline on their part as a football player. Not only as coaches, but as a football player, you got to go out there and you got to want to make these plays, okay? And if you want to be considered an upper echelon wide receiver or a football player in the ACC for the University of Miami, you got to make those plays. And until we get guys like that can do it consistently, like perfect example, as you see in the bottom here, like Mike Harley, 8 receptions, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Again, Mike Harley making some huge plays, and he's been consistent all year round. Okay, you got Brevin Jordan, who made some really big plays tonight as well. But you can't just rely on Brevin Jordan and Mike Harley. You got to have other guys that are going to make a catch or two to put you in a good position. I'm not talking about you don't need everybody to have 6 catches for 100 yards. But when it's time for you to make a play, go out there and make a damn play, man. So I don't know if this is a Manny Diaz problem or if it's a Rhett Lashley or what it was. And I feel like maybe they should have communicated a little bit more. Maybe Rob Likens should have gotten involved and said, hey, guys, sit your asses on the bench, and I'm going to put in Xavier Restrepo and this guy and that guy and see what they got because it's getting out of hand. Jeremiah Payton, by the way, was he dressed at all? I didn't see him.
He wasn't listed on the unavailability report, but I mean, I honestly don't even know.
Yeah, I don't even know either. But you know, that's the thing, man. Too much inconsistency at that position. You know, Cam Harris, I know, had a couple of really nice plays today. But to me, you know, and I kept looking at him and I kept saying, Cam Harris is going to be probably a very, very good third down back for someone in the league. Because I just don't the vision's not there for Cam Harris for me. I think that he's got to run through big holes in order for him to kind of get loose. When you see a kid like Don Chaney run through some tackles, Don Chaney's the best running back on this team. I've said it since game 2 or 3. He's definitely the best running back. So consistency at that position also is going to be crucial with Thad Franklin and some other guys coming in. I was just disappointed today overall with the team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But listen, on offense, we make a couple more plays, we might blow this team out also, right? Let's just be honest. Yeah. We may beat them. We may put up another 2 or 3 touchdowns. So again, a disappointing game. They lose by 3. We didn't even give Borregales a shot at the end to tie the game up and go into overtime. So, but kudos to N'Kosi Perry, who played his ass off, came in after not playing much this whole year, and looked good. He looked good doing it. I can definitely see him, Paul, transferring out, and going to a program that's going to play that type of offense. Maybe, not a Power 5, but right outside of Power 5, maybe that All-American Conference or whatever where Cincinnati plays or something like that. So we'll see what happens.
This was kind of his audition to me too, because I feel like he had a whole half to kind of give you a sample size of what he can do, and I feel like in the past, even a little early last year when he had the starting job, and even the year before that, you could kind of tell he was a very okay quarterback. He never really, his accuracy was kind of shaky, his touch was a little shaky. I mean, he has the size and he has athleticism, so I mean, it's somewhere in there, but he just kind of didn't piece it together. But now, man, I think it's kudos to him too, because think about it. When King got on campus, it took the team probably a month to announce him as a starting quarterback for the season. And especially with a guy who had experience in this program, you're thinking damn, they're already counting me out. They're not giving me any chance basically, and he's still. And I've seen this in press conferences where Diaz has kind of said he's kept a good attitude, he's always he's studying the playbook, he's always game ready. And he's never kept it on face, and you even see him talking to Derek King on the sidelines too when Derek King comes off the field, which is great. He's not off somewhere. He's not I hate to bring up another player, but a Dwayne Haskins or something, where he's doing his own thing. Right. He's always just staying ready, and I mean that's going to bode well if he does choose to transfer. I mean, thing is, well. I don't know, just watching this, I kind of really hope he stays and gives King a run for his money, because like imagine with I mean
Yeah, I
we're
don't think that's gonna
assuming,
happen though. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think.
but
Well,
that's
here's
the
the thing, right? Well, here's the thing. We're gonna find out very soon what's going on with the Eric King's knee or injury. So
yeah
if he has a torn ACL, he's not gonna make it for the start of the game or for the start of the season at the
for
very
Bama.
least, right? So
Yeah,
do you start at Bama with Jake Garcia as your starting quarterback, or TVD, or does Nkosi or would you rather go with Nkosi Perry? That's the
I
biggest question.
I'd,
I think I would go with Kosi
I'd
right
go with
now.
Perry too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially after what you saw today. I mean, look, listen. At the end of the day, I still don't think that he's. I still think Derrick King's a better quarterback than Nkosi Perry. Is he a bit more of a polished passer? Possibly, yes. But there's certain things, there's certain intangibles, right? That
hmm
Derrick King brings to the table that Nkosi Perry, nobody else on this team has,
hmm
it's a certain instinct, I guess you can call it, that he's going to bring in. And next year, with another year under his belt under this offense, I think he could be scary good. But we'll see what happens,
yes,
man. You know what? The thing is, he needs to get wide receivers that can catch the damn ball, and then maybe we can talk about it because,
or that
it,
care at least, that care about being in the game and making plays, and
I
you
mean,
know,
Romello Brinson's going to play a lot. Jacoby George is going to play a lot. Rashard Smith, and if they don't, then there's something going on there where they're not evaluating talent well enough either.
mhm.
And Rob Likens, this is on you, dude, because you are the wide receiver guru as well, right? You come from a long line of developing wide receivers in college. So you need to make a better assessment as to who needs to play more. I don't care. I really don't care about seniority. Coming from my background as a coach and a scout, I don't care about seniority, man. I never have. And if you ask any of the players I've ever coached, I know it's baseball, but still, it translates. If you're the best player on the team, then you're gonna play. I don't care if you're a senior or if you're an eighth grader. I don't care. You know what I mean? You're gonna go out there and you're gonna play. And it is what it is. I don't see that happening right now. I just see it more as a, well, these guys are the incumbents. We're gonna give them a shot. No, man, you got to play the best players. You got to play the best players,
Yeah.
and kids are gonna get pissed off and they're gonna get upset. They're gonna transfer, or not, or they're gonna come in and they're gonna compete and they're gonna say, well, kids are gonna be like, okay, he's gonna give me a shot because I think I can play. And in order for me not to play, you're gonna have to beat me out legitimately, right? As opposed to just giving these guys continuously giving these guys a chance. Is 5 Reasons Sports? I'm assuming that's I don't know who the hell that is, if it's Manny or
Or
Ethan or
Ethan.
whatnot. But I think that was an answer to if Blake Baker stays next year or if he's gone, right? If Blake Baker's gone, he said no. A lot of people are starting to trend that way. A lot of people are starting to trend saying no, he's not going to go anywhere. That's Manny's boy. They're going to give him another
Yikes.
shot or whatever the case is. Listen, if you do, then for me, Manny's not, as it is right now. I just don't know if Manny is the right guy to lead this team to a national title. Um, he's a good recruiter, and he connects well with players on that level. But as a talent developer, I don't know how good he is particularly, and I don't think that Blake Baker knows how to develop talent well enough either. I think he does need to go. Uh, uh, I don't know. What's your think? What's your thinking on this?
I think it's more. I think for Baker, it's more of a schematic thing. Because
Right.
I think you have to wonder, like, if guys, if they're consistently playing zone coverage and they're giving receivers a lot of space, does he not trust his guys? Does he kind of just want to play it safe, or they kind of just want to prevent the big play versus the small plays? Um, I don't know. I don't think that because I don't know, because I think I kind of have a high barometer with this, where I think about the 20, what was it, the 2018 defense, where they had like 4 or 5 guys with like 10 TFLs. I mean, with Gerald Willis, Quarterman, Pickney, all those guys had like 10 TFLs at least. And I mean, it's maybe unfair for me to compare our let's say our linebacker personnel right now versus back then.
Right.
But it's nice to know that a Manny Diaz coach defense can produce that, if possible. And I don't think that Baker is a perfect extension of Diaz as they say he is. And I think that, I forgot who it was. I'm not sure if I was talking about it with you guys or someone else. But I think people say like, oh, maybe Diaz should call plays on defense, which I wouldn't mind. But at the same time, he is the head coach. He
Right.
shouldn't have to worry about that side of the ball. He should hire people that are competent enough to just kind of be like to kind of delegate that responsibility to, and I think a lot can be said, or a lot can be speculated on, like if you let go of Baker or not. If I had to just kind of be off the top of my head and just seeing what he did last year with Enos, I say he does make a tough decision, and I think it's just important for Baker in his growth. I mean, I don't think he'll hate him, but like I think it's just kind of like him telling Baker like you just didn't do well enough, but there's a lot to take from this experience because I feel like Baker can definitely be a solid defense coordinator, like at one of the other the Power Five conferences, I guess. The Power Five. There's the Big Five and there's the Power Five, right? I keep
Power
forgetting
Five.
the difference. Yeah, Power Five. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Power Five, and then there's the I don't know what's it called. What's the secondary called? Danny, do you
I
know?
thought it was Power Five.
We're the Power Five. We're part of the Power Five, right?
It's not the Big Five or something. Did I just did I just make that up? I made up a Big Five.
Is it like Group of Five, Power Five, and Group
Group
of
of
Five?
Five.
Group
There
of
we go.
Five
Group of Five.
So the Power Five is the ACC, the SEC, the Pac-12 or Pac-10, whatever the hell it is.
Big Ten.
Big Ten and Big 12, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the AAC and Conference USA and all that stuff. Right.
Yeah. So I think Manny does have balls to do it. He definitely does, and I feel like with the way they kind of they saved money on how they hired Diaz to. I don't know how much they bought out Enos for him to leave, but I feel like if they have the money to do it, I mean, why not? I think that Baker, probably will need to learn somewhere else, and there's probably a couple other positions too that need new coaches as well. But I mean, overall, I just feel like Diaz wants to win, and a big showing of that last year was the Enos firing, because like he fired Enos after 1 year when he had high praise for him coming in. He's like, oh, this guy has a very multiple offense. He's the one guy that had an offense that I had to prepare for. But once he saw the results on the field, he's like, nope, this isn't working. I'm sorry, but you're out of here. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
That whole saying that coaches want to win. Yeah, they all want to win. Everybody wants to win. It's just a matter of willing to do what it takes to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the highest level, and do everything that you can to win. So that's the biggest, and some people are loyal to a fault, right? And so, and like you said, Manny grew up here last year, and he let Enos go, which was nice. But now he has another tough decision to make. How do you feel about Miami's game? Well, Steven, we don't feel too good about the game. We've got the Heat playing like
There's a lot to take from the game, I would say.
Yeah,
like, there's a lot of good. There's good and bad, I think, with it.
Yeah, sure. The Heat playing.
We're not talking about the Heat game. I don't want to talk about the Heat game. That's worse than what Miami just went through.
I don't know if that's worse. It's like Game 3 for crying out loud. Relax.
Yeah, but they're down 50. They're down 50.
Yeah, well, then I don't think they were going to be better than they were last year. They definitely need to get James Harden. All right. Unpopular opinion.
I'm for it. Yeah. Hear that, Ethan?
Trade everybody. Trade everybody for him. Get rid of Hero for him.
We should get Ethan on the show one of these days.
Well, I always tell him to come on, and he's like, I don't. Come on, Ethan.
Neither do we, Ethan. Whatever that blah 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 is, we don't.
He watches a decent amount. He used to run the live show. I think last year or 2 years ago.
I want him on
for something. I forgot what that was.
I want Ethan on the show.
I do too.
Yeah.
Get Ethan Skolnick on Uh,
The
sixth
sixth
ranked
ring.
team. Yeah.
We're gonna go up a poll in a little bit.
Heat is about to be scored by. They're about to be down by 2,000 points. Probably is what Grun is trying to say. Yeah, man. Why do you got to keep throwing it on there like that, though, man? Jeez.
We've been through enough already with the Canes
Good
loss.
Lord. Look, I mean, there isn't much more to really talk about with this team. I think now it's just a wait and see approach. Let's see what happens with De'Ara King's knee. You know, the good news is that we saw Nkosi play today. We know that he has a grasp for this offense. He didn't look bad doing it. You know, we'll see what happens next year. But if Nkosi is back, then I think he gives us the best shot to beat Alabama. Alabama's going to lose a lot of players, but they also have like 65 5-stars behind them.
Yeah,
so
they probably have their best recruiting class ever in this cycle too. It's scary how good their recruiting
Just
class
another day
is.
at the office for Nick Saban, apparently.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they do lose Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. I don't know if Mechie comes back. I'm not sure what class he is, but they lose Najee Harris. Although they got Brian Robinson right behind them, who's pretty damn good running back. Bryce Young apparently is not all that, but he's still a 5-star quarterback.
Yeah,
and
he's still a top 2 player in the nation too, coming out of high school. And the thing about it too, like they lost last year. They lost Judy and they lost Ruggs.
Right.
And then all they did was reload, and they were just prepping Devontae Smith for a big.
And Devontae Smith had a great year last year. He had a good year last year too. You know,
Devontae Smith was the first wide receiver to win the Associated Press Player of the Year since the award began in 1998.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
That's how good he is.
He may have made a great decision by going to Bama instead of Miami as well.
Possibly, right? Possibly.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's still debatable. Yeah, it's
super debatable. But they lose those guys, right? They lose Leatherwood. They lose Dickerson. Dylan Moses is gone. Barmore is gone. Josh Joe. I think
Sertan a sophomore or the junior?
I don't know, but they're losing a lot of guys, right? So are they? This is the year. We keep saying this every year. This might be the year to catch Alabama slipping early on in the game in the season. I know we always say that. Everybody always says that. The whole country says that. Well, hey, maybe Virginia Tech can beat them or whoever the hell it is that they played. Yeah, true. What is up with the Heat background though?
Wow,
Dave.
Nice to know how much we mean to 5 Reasons Sports. But
Dave is having too much fun right now. With
you know what?
Background.
Let's do it. Bam needs to look to score more, not just pass. He's been a disappointment. He doesn't look good. He doesn't look to score, and he needs to be a max player. Well, yeah, duh, right?
I agree with that. The thing is, like, when I've watched in the past couple of years, they give him that mid-range jumper all day because they know that he turns his back.
He's hit it though. He's hit it. I've seen him hit it.
And he's a nice touch. He's a really nice touch. But the thing is, a lot of times he'll look to just hand it off to Duncan or hand it off to a guy that's cutting around. And it's like, dude, they give you like 5 feet of space, man. Sure. Just shoot it. Just shoot it. Yeah.
Okay, you miss it, that's fine. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. But if they're going to give
a big man that can be perfect with the mid-range jumper is so dangerous in today's game. Is so dangerous because all the big men now are versatile. They can shoot. They can dribble. They can take it to the basket. And it's just like you could average 25 and 12.
Like easily. A young Marcus Hall, for instance, is what I think of.
Yeah.
But he's more athletic than him, right? He's
for sure.
Way more athletic. I can see that though, right? The comparison. But yeah, he needs to be more aggressive going to the rim as well, going to the basket. Finishing with the ball in his hands because he can. I'm not saying he's got great handles, but he doesn't have bad handles for a big guy. So if you can take another big guy off the dribble and take him to the rack and score, then I think he definitely needs to do that a little bit more, man.
Tice could not stop him again when they played him in the finals, in the conference finals. Tice was getting eaten up by Bam.
I have my issues with Tice. Tice, I don't understand why he gets as many minutes as he does because he always gets called for a foul no matter what he does. So I don't know why Brad is him off the floor. He could breathe and be called for a foul. But anyway, that's my gripe about Tice. And
Yeah, don't get Danny started on Tice, all right?
yeah, he was
Remember, he's a
he was
Boston
getting
guy over there.
posterized by Bam, and it was just a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Tell me about it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
They
you know, you know it's bad when we're talking about the Heat on a Canes show.
Okay,
It is bad.
I'll add one more thing about the Canes at least, because I know Corey Couch was targeted a lot too in this game, but I think one thing is that they put what was his Martin or his first name Zay
Yeah.
Martin or whatever.
Say Martin.
Martin's like 6'3", and he's up against a 5'10" corner, and at that point when Couch is kind of getting called for PI all the time, I mean, what more can you do, with that? I know that the third PI call was BS when the ball was like 10 yards over his head. I was like, what? Yeah, like and it wasn't necessarily like it wasn't one of those like they both it was like a vertical play where they both jumped for the ball. Like no, like I feel like even Martin knew that was uncatchable.
Right.
They just kind of all stopped in their tracks. I'm like, what the hell? But credit to Couch for playing his butt off tonight.
Yeah.
Like Mans was super physical. I mean, there are a couple of like maybe blown coverages, but he still found a way to get into the play, and not allow extra yardage. And man, we really have a special corner in Couch, but outside of Couch, man, corner depth is really bad. Ivy was pretty bad. There was one play where I think there was a tackle that he made, but most of the night, man, like he was just getting torched.
Yeah, he was brutal.
Is Mike Rumpf on the hot seat, do you think? We're talking about coaches maybe getting fired who should get fired.
I think he's another one. I think if you ask me, I might get rid of more than just one defensive coach, maybe 2 or 3 of them. But only time will tell.
Are we getting that far, or no? Should we say that for
another? Should we name names? I think Mike Rumpf has to be one that they might have to let go. Definitely Blake Baker, and maybe Packy. Yeah, and maybe Packy. So I think it's important that they reassess those guys over there, and possibly make some changes. Before we go, because apparently we got to wrap this up here. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens now in the offseason. The Kings lose to Oklahoma State in the Cheezit Bowl, 37-34. Yeah, even
that sounds so weird. That sounds so funny.
The Cheezit Bowl, right? The Cheezit Bowl sounds easy. See what I did there?
They did a Cheezit dump on Gundy.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah, that was terrible.
That's so weird. What the heck?
I do want to say a couple of things. Again, big shout out to N'Kosi Perry. Hopefully, De'Aaron King, well wishes to him. Hopefully he gets better soon. Hopefully it's not too serious, because I think he's going to be an integral part to us contending for ACC championship game and even the playoffs next year. I think that if we can win out in the ACC and and get through, then there's big possibilities. And another bit of information, although we will have a nice end of the season show here. DeAndre Johnson looks to transfer portal. What is he? A graduate? He's a senior linebacker from Tennessee, who's a Florida kid. Apparently, Miami seems to be the hot spot for DeAndre Johnson, who's a linebacker coming out of Tennessee, entering the transfer portal. How bad is King's injury? We won't know. We don't know just yet, but maybe my plug. Big shout out.
Chaz has the plug, man. Wait on his tweet.
We'll see what happens there. Yeah. follow me at Six Rings Kings. But again, good season overall. I think it was disappointing at the end though. And it seems to be a trend, right, where we kind of fall off at the end. For whatever reason it is. I know this year has been tough. But the Kings, I think, overall did a great job, and next year I think it's going to be exciting to watch this team play. Hopefully we can have a nice end of the season show, and then continue on and talk a little bit about baseball and basketball. And by the way, the Kings dropped a close one today to Virginia Tech on the hardwood. They lost 78-80. So a really young team over there too, but Coach Larinaga has them going in the right direction, so we'll see what happens there. But aside from that, guys, anything you guys want to finish off with before we head out.
I was just really impressed with the play of Chaney today. I thought he played well, and I think he's going to be someone whose stock is going to rise in the coming years for sure. I like the way he plays a lot.
Yeah, good observation.
I think this season has been good, not great. Definitely a step in the right direction. But I think just looking forward, just two things that look for. It's just like they have a big recruiting class coming in, so hopefully they come in with a lot of hungry guys that really want to improve and change. I would say more improve the culture of the team and kind of just bring that swagger back that that everyone kind of talks about with the University of Miami, and just I guess keep an eye on coaching changes. Those two things. I mean, those are obvious because coaches and players, but like Miami's not too far. They're probably like still a year away, maybe a year or two away from being a good playoff contender, but I feel like they are still trending in the right direction. So wait and see. Shout
out to Anthony Palacio, Belen alumni, and of course Donald Chaney went to Belen as well. So that's a claim to fame there. So that's kind of cool. I agree with both of you. I think that the defense is the biggest concern. I think Blake Baker needs to go. I think it's exciting to see what Don Chaney is doing, and some of the other guys on the on offense as well. Brevin Jordan, hey, we'll see what happens with him. We'll see if he's going to end up taking off or coming back for one more. Although the future is bright at tight end as well with Will Mallory coming back, Matt Morelli there, Larry Hodges, and then the guys coming in like Arroyo and Khalil Brantley as well. So a lot of good news. Thad Franklin, I love Thad Franklin. I think he's going to come in and absolutely dominate the ACC eventually as well, running back, and then our wide receiver. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in the coming weeks. But disappointing loss, but hopefully Don Chaney comes through. And of course, yes, worry about the Kings defense. Bam is fine. Yes, stop talking about Bam here. This is a Kings show, for crying out loud. Thank you guys for the show. Jock, thanks for joining us. If you're listening, man, good job, man. Good time again. Yeah. Good job, Jock. Always on time, baby. Did you have practice today, Jock? Is that